Serena Williams hasn't announced a comeback. That's the first thing to keep straight. But the reason this story suddenly feels real again is that recent reports say she's re-entered the official anti-doping testing pool, and that changes the conversation from pure fantasy to an actual live possibility. That detail matters because the anti-doping pool isn't just paperwork floating in the background. In plain English, if an athlete wants to be eligible to compete at the top level again, they need to be back inside that testing system. So when Serena's name shows up in reports tied to that pool, people don't hear retired legend making headlines. They hear a door unlocking, and the obvious question follows right behind it. Why open that door now? That timing is what gives this story its charge. Serena stepped away from professional tennis nearly 4 years ago, which is long enough for most comeback chatter to fade into nostalgia, old highlights, and the usual what if talk. But this is different because it suggests at least some renewed openness to competition. And with Serena, even a small administrative move lands like a spotlight hitting center court, which is exactly why people are trying to read the next step before it happens. Still, this is where the story gets tricky because rejoining the pool is not the same thing as announcing a tournament, unveiling a schedule, or saying, I'm back. It's a signal, not a final decision. But it's also not the kind of move people usually obsess over for no reason. And that tension is why the sports world is buzzing so hard right now. It's big enough to matter, but incomplete enough to invite speculation. And when the name is Serena Williams, speculation doesn't stay small for long. She's one of those rare athletes who can bend the whole sports conversation just by making one serious looking move. A possible path back doesn't just excite tennis fans, it changes media attention, fan expectations, and the mood around the women's game almost instantly. Because now the question isn't only whether she could return, but what a real return would mean if this story keeps moving. That's where the smartest reading of this moment comes in. Don't treat the anti doping pool report like a comeback poster, but don't brush it off like empty internet noise either. If the reporting is accurate, this is a meaningful eligibility step, the strongest early signal in years that the option is open again. And the next things to watch are much more concrete. Signs of training intensity, public comments, or an actual event entry. Because that's where possibility starts turning into something harder to dismiss. For now, the cleanest truth is this. Serena Williams is not confirmed to be returning to professional tennis, but the anti-doping pool step is why the story suddenly matters in a different way. It means the comeback question has moved out of daydream territory and into watch this space territory. And that's a very big shift when the person involved is Serena. If you've ever watched a Serena story, go from rumor to reality before, hit subscribe and tell me this. Do you think she's seriously setting up a comeback or just keeping the option alive?